Gordana Subotic is a writer, researcher, and teaching assistant of gender, politics, and international affairs whose important work has highlighted the struggles of women in post-Yugoslavian governance. For the last 3.5 years, she has been conducting research towards earning her PhD, and prior to that, she worked in various NGOs promoting women's rights and educational opportunities. In addition, she has volunteered aiding refugees immigrating to Europe. She recently moved to Rome and is wrapping up her dissertation. I cannot wait to share her journey. Thank you, Gordana, for joining me today to talk a little bit about the work you've been doing and all your experiences traveling and working abroad. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now. You're finishing up your PhD in Melbourne?
Yeah. So currently I'm on my last year of PhD by research. My PhD is about, I actually spent 1 year following women politicians in Serbia and Kosovo. And I was looking at, when I say following, it's actually participant observation. So I was observing, I was working with them, I was going to work with them, and I was observing how they navigate their national or ethnic and gender identity while they're doing politics. So now, it's called political ethnography. The research is my own original idea because I really always wanted to see how women navigate this in politics by in their own setting. So now I'm just finishing up writing and I defended it in front of the uni. I had this public kind of presentation and should submit in October, so I should be writing as I speak with you. No, I'm joking. PhDs always think I should be writing. So I'm a tutor. I'm an academic tutor. I'm tutoring now one subject. It's called power. So it's about how power works in the institutions, body, and all that. And I'm having currently have 72 students. So I'm just right now in the process of marking their essays, which there are a lot of things in these essays that really make me laugh, but it's fine, People always I was the first year bachelor, I understand. Sorry, I have to move a bit. That's what I'm doing right
now. I know it's trying to educate the young minds is kind of, whatchamacallit. It's rewarding and yet frustrating. But
it's actually fun because these are Melbourne University is pretty international. Australia is really international. It's probably the most international place I've been at any point in my life, and I've traveled a lot. I've traveled at least 50 countries of the world. So I have these subjects that I teach, I have mostly Chinese and Australian students, Asian, basically. But even the Australian students are of course their background of their parents. Maybe they were born here, but the background of the parents are all multinational. The least they have Aboriginal and Torres Islanders students, and that's kind of really sad because their social position in society is really problematic. But that's Australia. That's their political issue really. It's pretty, and it's kind of interesting to see how this how their brain works, and how is their work ethics, of these kids. It's really interesting to see. They're pretty smart kids. I like them a lot. There's always a couple of them that are really brilliant and they're fascinated by how smart they are. But they're like funny things how they understand stuff. Sometimes really wrong, and then like you need to laugh because it's really like kind of funny. But yeah, it's pretty fun work. It's inspiring. It's always something different. Sometimes they're not really in the mood to work with you. They're like quiet, but sometimes they're really like inspired. And so I had a couple of I had 5 classes this semester and 3 classes the previous semester. And I really like in the end, I'm kind of sad because I have to say goodbye, like I want to continue working with them because it's fun.
Oh. So what got you interested in doing this type of research and work in like women's equality and gender rights, feminism, like I said, identity, especially in like the post-Balkans region?
Yeah. So I actually started doing like feminism after my bachelor, after I finished my bachelor degree, because I kind of thought that I'm thinking differently than other people, that I behave differently than other like women in my environment. My mom is very patriarchal. She kind of suffered a lot because of the patriarchy, because her inheritance she couldn't take her inheritance because of her brother, because like it's a shame you as a woman accept the inheritance of your parents. It's something I always thought that that's wrong, even though I thought that that's actually a normal, like I was taught by other people, but I actually naturally thought that this is unfair. So, and yeah, my mom is also like a victim of violence, so domestic violence, and like police was never protective, the judiciary never protected her. So I thought that that's such an injustice, and I've seen and observed all this like pain that women in my environment had to go through, and I was so mad about it. And of course, like I'm completely different than them, and I grew up in a completely different time. My character is completely different. I'm pretty like aggressive, straightforward. I'm open. I don't care. So they're not like that. They're taught to be submissive. They're taught to accept what man says, to shut up when the man speaks. So no, I refused all that, even though they, tried to educate me in that manner. I said no. Of course, I had problems because of that, but I said no. And yeah, and then that's why I kind of started doing with dealing with like women's rights. I wanted to join women's organizations, so that's what I did, and I worked in the like women in black. It's like anti-militarist, anti-nationalist, or like an NGO, association of women. And I started traveling throughout the region of Balkans, and this is where I faced the kind of what the nationalism has brought upon us. And since then, I actually want to research on nationalism and how like women perceive nationalism. What is their understanding of their nation, their like own national identity, their symbols, their myths, their stories? Are they the same stories that men have, or they see that like really differently? And that's why I applied for this PhD, and I got a scholarship in 2016. The project is like my really original idea because like women are not in politics. Like the numbers of women in politics is really like low, especially in Serbia. It's 30%. So 30% in parliament, like less than 30% in the government, like 12%. So, and everywhere else in the world. So we're not asked about it, but yet they're really like supportive of nationalism in all different roles. It doesn't have to be a role of a soldier. A mother is also a supporter of nationalism, because the mother is the one that, because of the patriarchy, of course, that teaches children, and teaches sons different things. So if they teach them to be soldiers, then they will be soldiers, like for the nation. And that's the part of this like theory on like like mothers, how mothers perceive nationalism, and the role of the mother is like to hold and let go. So yeah, this is how I started. Like, I came here to Australia. I got a scholarship. Australia gave me a wonderful chance to study for free and improve myself, and like actually I get to know this, like start teaching. And they really gave me a good opportunity at the University of Melbourne, and I will be grateful like my whole life, because as a poor person from Serbia, I would never ever have a chance to do this if I was not supported by the University of Melbourne to do so. Like I would still stay in Serbia.
Wow. Yeah. The story of Gordana. No, it's
Fascinating.
it's but no, that was really in a nutshell. I mean, it wasn't really in a nutshell because you gave us a lot of good information regarding, what started, that spark in you, and then how did it grow, and how did it grow, and how did it grow, and what the different opportunities that came along your way, and it allowed you to continue. What has been your biggest challenge with, all the traveling that you do? Regarding communication. I mean, obviously you speak English, but what were other some nonverbal, things that came up, or cultural differences that you came across that were maybe challenging or exciting?
Yeah, well, that's a really interesting question because like, so when you travel, you kind of get to know other people, but you get to know you really well, and you get to know what is your character, what is your like upbringing in what is your mentality, the place where you're coming from, and how other people deal with problems, and then you see how you deal with problems and kind of see the difference. And when I came here for the first time, what made me like, I grew up in the Balkans. I'm very like, I hate this kind of generalizations, but like cultural specificities are very, there are cultural specificities, and we cannot sort of like negate, and like of course every individual is different, but there are some things that we all share. Like of course, like it doesn't have to be ethnic identity, it can be like the way we like, like the kind of bread we like, or whatever, like we the music. And there are specificities that I just in Serbia, I didn't know how like specific it is, how I'm like very specific in certain things, but when I came here, I kind of discovered that. And what kind of like bothered me, but actually in the time I learned that this is actually probably even good.
Yeah.
It's the way Australians like here. Uh, so first is being passive aggressive. So like here, that's the mode that people function. Being passive
Okay.
aggressive. Like in Balkans, we are openly aggressive. We just do not give you this fake smile. How are you? But I actually don't care. How are you? How you are? Like if you start telling me a story like how you are, I will be like very bored. But I will tell you, like here there will be the people will be nice. People are nice here. Like, but then you come to the level that everything is nice. So if you're from the Balkans, like not everything can be nice. There must be something negative, because this is really Balkan of you to think, oh my God, there's something wrong, because this is how we think. And then I learned that being nice it's not such a problem really, and it really helps you most of the time, even when it's fake. It's much better than when you're like openly just a negative person all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're like, that's what kind of like was a huge problem for me, because I couldn't like differentiate who was honest to me and who was not honest, because like everyone is nice, but then like wait, like like, so how do you know when you're wrong if everyone is nice all the time? And then of course I learned after that how you actually understand that you're wrong is when people are passive aggressive. So they will not openly like tell you, hey, like what you did is not right, we don't like it. They will just be passive aggressive to you. They will just be nice, give you a smile, but then like turn around and leave aggressively and stuff like that. So yeah, that was for me like really strange, because I'm like, yeah, the way they like receive an information. it's completely different. If you don't deliver it in a certain like way, they will understand it as an attack on them, which is kind of weird because like you don't even have to say anything like really harsh. So these are the some cultural things, and then you of course like learn how to communicate better with them. So like now I'm a tutor. Before I started being a tutor, I actually had a fear how I'm going to deal with students because the resilience of people here, I would say, is really low. The resilience to different problems, the life problems. You know,
Right.
like when you grew up in the Balkans, you had refugees, you had bombing, you had war, you had hunger, you had embargo and sanctions. So I was like hungry half of the time. I had no shoes. So like, you know, like I'm used to that kind of thing. And for me, if I miss my bus or like, I don't know, like some small shock, I'm okay. You know, like at least
Yeah.
have a roof over my head. And, but, you know, people here have less resilience, I would say. So I was like had the problem, how am I going to deal with them, these students, you know, how am I going to give them feedback not to hurt their feelings because I can be too harsh. I can deliver information very directly that can impact their, you know, motivation. Maybe I can hurt them in some way because these are young people. These are like 20 years old and they're like grew up here. That was the problem. But then I realized that like with my sense of humor and all that, and I start like a bit of jokes, and when I give them feedback I
Yeah.
always give them like positive feedback, and then I never say this is wrong. I actually say, you know, you kind of have to improve, there is a space for improvement, and then I deliver them like this was actually really good, you know, like you give them
Yeah.
positive, not even negative, but kind of improvement, and then positive. So if you deliver anything that is not fitting this, it's not going to be understood well. So that was the problem for me with the communication. But then, you know, you learn like the Chinese people, for example, they also deliver really like bam, and I kind of understand it, but you know, I can see that Australians have a huge problem in understanding.
I think what they called what you just said. I think I'm gonna say it anyway. A shit sandwich. You
Yeah,
put the layer between some good news. The bad news is layered between some good news. But
yeah, but in
um
Serbia they will give you shit. You know, they will say this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and they will never say this is good. Never. So you learn in Serbia to really be a fighter. And when someone is really nice to you, you get suspicious. Why is he so nice to
yeah.
me? It's crazy. It's crazy. But that's the difference. It's a cultural difference.
Yeah, like there it's like you fake it till you make it. Smile and it just, comes off as being, sincere, even if, like you said, you're suspicious. That's really interesting. I'm really glad, like, you kind of touched upon that point, because it's kind of, I don't know what, I don't want to call it first world problems, but that's kind of what I feel like you just described.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
how would you
also,
say?
sorry.
No,
Sorry,
it's
I
okay.
wanted to, yeah, mark that question. I wanted to tell you also like what was really specific for these kids that I work with. So in Serbia, you know, I would fake stuff and I would make fake documents in order to prove that I couldn't attend the class. But kids here are so honest. They're like, I broke up with my boyfriend. Can I have extension? I'm like, yeah. And I would always give them 5 days of extension. Whatever they do, like other tutors don't want to do that, but I always give them because I see how honest they are. Like I would never say to my professor or my tutor, "Oh, I broke up with my boyfriend. Can I have extension?" They'll tell me go to hell, you know, in Serbia. But here, they just say, "Oh, I'm struggling a bit, you know. Like, can I have extension?" Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll give you an extension. Because their honesty, you know, they can lie, you know, that their dog is dead or something like that, but they don't. They're really honest. So that's what I kind of appreciate because they don't try to kind of cheat on you. But like in Serbia, you know, like I was a student, so I would like, you know, print out that my grandma is dead just to like not attend something, but my grandma is alive, you know, understand how weird that is?
It's all right. We forgive you now. But yeah, it's interesting. So how would you say you've connected with new individuals, making friends or, meeting new colleagues, and breaking those types of barriers as well?
Yeah, so when I came here, I was pretty lonely. I was really depressed. I was kind of crying for 15 days.
Oh,
Well, I was feeling sorry for myself, but that's normal, like,
well,
there were
home,
situations
home,
when I was feeling sorry for myself here. But that's just a normal phase when you leave your country and go somewhere else.
right.
Like, it's a normal phase, and you come by yourself. Like, I came by myself. I had no one. I knew no one. But then, yeah, everything was in the wrong direction. So, like, because here, like, the wheel in the car is on the different side, actually on the right side, and I was always going to different directions. I couldn't figure it out. I was almost hit by a car a couple of times. So I was lost. I was lost. I was completely lost. But then, after 15 days, I was like thinking, oh, I'm going to go back, but no, this is a very good chance. No one gets this chance like once in a lifetime. No, I shouldn't go back. I was really crazy. And then I came, because here everyone lives in a room. People share like rooms, even Australian people. So that's the specificity of Australian society. So even Australian people, they share rooms with other people. So
Yeah.
like, and they're not students. They're like people that are employed. Like, they have their jobs. They're well-paid jobs, but then they kind of don't want to live by themselves, so they live with other like housemates. So this is how you get friends. So I moved in with two Australian guys, and one was like Ukrainian descent, and his actually grandma spoke perfect Serbian, and
Oh,
because
wow.
she lived in Bosnia, and the other guy is like Slovak and Polish. His like parents were. So I kind
Yeah.
of really fit in with them, and then I met their families, and they kind of adopted me because everyone is international here, so people adopt each other, really fast, because
Yeah.
you are alone here. So uh, people just get together with by living together, or by like, there's a lot of this Tinder thing and stuff, but I don't use that. So I just relied upon my personality,
Yeah.
as is, with no channel of communication. And at the uni, I have my own office. All the PhDs have offices, so I kind of like started meeting people that work in other offices. We're all PhDs in the end. I mean, we all have same problems, so just like at work, met friends. I have some small like Serbian community friends,
Mm.
which are also most of them are PhDs here. Also, students got their scholarships, so I kind of like connected with them. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got to know people.
Wow. That's and like you said, I think having that whole community, right where you were living helped,
Yeah,
acclimate you into that, and helped you with the homesickness, with coming over and like you said, having university and all that, you were able to, you're not to say forced, but you were able to sort of create those. You didn't have to like go out of your way to create those opportunities. They were sort of there. You sort of cultivated them as you, and like you said, you meet somebody, then you meet somebody, and that person introduces you to somebody, and then you have this ripple effect of. But that's really sweet that they adopted you into their family.
yeah,
I think that's
yeah. They
cute.
really helped me. They helped me a lot. Like, to find furniture. Like, the mom of one of my housemates, she like actually was like, "Oh, you're my daughter that I never had." Like, they're really nice people. Like, the mom of the other one helped me like with my drafts. She was reading them. So really, like, people were really nice to me here. Like, especially these two housemates. They were the first people to adopt me, and then of course their friends, and like, just I was lucky to find them. Not everyone is so lucky, really.
Yeah, but I think only because I also know you. I mean, you're also, I think your personality warrants, I don't know how anybody can not be attracted to you, Gordana. You're like a magnet.
So hard.
You're just so easy to get along with. So, I was gonna say, no, of course. Do you ever, do you miss home? Like, do you miss Serbia? I mean, other than just like your family, of course, but.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I don't really,
Really?
no, I don't really. I'm kind of glad that Australia is really far. And yeah, I'm really glad because, um, uh, I have a specific relationship with my country because I study politics and all this like stuff that kind of piece like really made me mad and I wanted to leave. I can see it repeating all the time. Like for example, this year I was called by a prime minister of Serbia. I was invited as well other students at the Melbourne University to go back and have a conference with our prime minister to tell them why did we leave Serbia and how to make young people stay in Serbia. And I'm like, man, you are the most corrupted person in this, in the whole Serbia. You are the least eligible to be in the spot of the prime minister. You know why people leave Serbia because of people like you. Why are you inviting me to come back and tell you this in your face? Because obviously I will get arrested or it will be a huge scandal. So don't call me. I get it very personal. That's why I don't miss Serbia because uh, like I left because of Serbia, not because of anything else, like because of Serbia, like things that are very specific for Serbia, which is like huge corruption, nepotism, people who shouldn't be in the spots where they are, but they are there because of their personal connection to, or they're like very obedient to the president who says do this and they will like even roll in the mud because they don't think, as Hannah Arendt said, they don't think, they just do.
Yeah,
Like
they're
that's
like lackeys.
yeah, they're the same for me. They're soldiers, like there are soldiers in Auschwitz, like they're as equal as they are because they perform the duties that they're told to perform. They don't think, what is this duty going to do to other people? Like if I'm unqualified to be in this position, the decisions that I make are definitely going to impact the lives of many people, especially this woman who is a prime minister. So, I don't miss that. I don't miss that. And, like I'm following like politics and what happens in Serbia. I do miss my family. Like I do miss my mom, but I don't miss like that my mom can't provide for herself. So I actually send her money from here. Like she worked 35 years and I have to provide for her. If I wouldn't, and you know how many of us do that work in the world and send money back?
Right.
Because these people can't survive. Why? Because of the people like this prime minister. So no, I do not miss that. I do miss some people. I miss food. I definitely miss music. And I definitely miss like parties, like hanging with the Serbian people, listening to Serbian music. I miss cheap cigarettes, cheap alcohol. But yeah, I do not miss Serbia like as a state.
As a state, exactly. Maybe as certain cultural things, of course. And maybe the cheap alcohol, but and your
If
family.
something changes there, yeah, like definitely, like if I was called by an honest prime minister to give my advice, and if I know that my advice, which is pretty realistic, because in the last 6 years, 500,000 of young people like me left, and there are only 7 million Serbs in Serbia, actually less than 7 million. So you can see the trend that there will be no young people there in like a couple of years, like in 10, 20 years, no young people will be there, especially not young, smart people. So yeah, if I'm called by a person that actually wants to change something, honestly, yeah, I'll go. But by a corrupted people, no, not exactly. I ran away from that, I'm done.
Mm, that's a shame. But at the same time, you see it for what it is, and you have to make a decision that's that's best for you. And like I said, you've been doing the research, so you know what it is. You know how it is out there, and
Yeah.
you're letting the rest of the world know. The well, not even the shit sandwich, the shit storm that's going on. So what is the next moves? You're going to be getting the PhD. What's on the horizon for you in 2019 and 2020?
Well, for me is like submission of my PhD, which is in October, because I'm not a native English speaker. I do have to have an editor, so we'll have to see and navigate that, like, who's going to be my editor, because like, it's not only enough, like, if it would be enough for you to speak English to finish PhD, that's that would be like pretty, too easy. That's why international universities like, Melbourne University, other universities, they need international people, because we bring different kind of knowledge, and that is like specific contextual knowledge. So like, I have to find a very good editor that understands my context and my language and the way information is delivered. That's crucial. And hopefully October, I find this person until October, and I actually finish. So when I finish my PhD, I actually had a plan to publish it, because I think it's really unique research. There are not many political ethnographies are out there in which, like, people were conducting participant observation with politicians, and especially in the context as Serbia and Kosovo, because I'm Serbian, but I followed like Bosniak and Albanian politicians, women politicians in Kosovo. So I think it will be really interesting to publish that as a book. That's what I want. So I will prepare the publishing, and I really want to also publish a couple of journals with all the spots of, because I researched for a year, so I have a lot of results. So I want to get that all published, not because I really want to be, famous in the academia. Most people like want only the fame. I actually never wanted fame. I just wanted to that knowledge to be out there, But, if of course, like, I don't have a plan to be an academic. I did this PhD only because I was wondering some stuff and I really wanted to find it out. But I will see. I will have to navigate that, because I'm moving to Rome. I'm learning Italian. I don't know the academia in Rome. I really don't know what I'm going to do, if I'm going to go to like continue within NGOs, if I'm going to like work in international organization, because I am like now doing this consulting pro bono for this feminist foundation called Frida. So if I'm going to do that, I really don't know. I kind of feel that there is a need. I really feel there is a need for me to kind of learn more about refugee policy, especially in Europe, especially in Italy. There are like a lot of people, asylum seekers, that are coming by the boat, and I think I can do a lot there. But I really need to first learn about the laws of European Union and all that on refugee policy. And I think I can help if I engage with that, because I really feel like that's a huge thing. And especially women within, of course, most of them are men, but there are women also as well that are coming. And before I left Serbia, I was volunteering in actually like finding the clothes and all this like stuff for the refugees, like food, delivery. So I was like volunteering every Wednesday, and I kind of saw like that's going to be a huge, I think I can like help there. So I will really try to, when I go back, like when I go to Italy, to learn more about that and try to like engage with the refugees and kind of try to help somehow,
That's going to be an interesting shift, because like you already have like a certain background, but like you said, you've done some volunteer work, and I just think you're going to have a lot to contribute. And I think it's going to be real interesting for you to see, what comes out of that. But I mean, I wish you all the best. I think I've told you this already. You're an amazing individual. You have a lot of you're a brilliant mind. I just think you have so much to say about that's so real. You know what I mean? It's just about, like you said, real experience that you had growing up, but all the knowledge and the reading and the researching that you've done is just incredible. And I just feel like you have a lot to contribute, and it's cool. I mean, you really lived a cool life. You've traveled and done a lot of research, so it's gonna be interesting to see where next few is. I'm sorry, I was gloating there, but I was like, I'm not like praise be, but you're a really cool person. So I'm really glad that you took the time to talk to me today.
It was like a shitty life, but it became cool because I kind of made it cool. I kind of fought for it, really fought for it. Yeah, but when I was just like, for the refugees, I was thinking like I helped with stuff like, but this stuff are not going to like really help these people long term, like giving them a good jacket, finding them a bit of food, or telling them how to actually like cross the border and where to go. Like that's what I was doing, but that doesn't help long term. So what I want to do is kind of like, get more education so I can actually advocate for these people, or impact decision makers, or like just do something more, because I feel like that's where I need to go. So that's what I was thinking, and thank you very much for your compliments.
Right. Yeah. Well, like
I'm a bit hectic person.
Well, like I said, I think it's you had that like little short-term relief experience. Now what's the next step? The next step, you need to find long-term solutions. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. Well, let's see. If I would be staying here, I know what I would do. But of course I have to move.
Yeah.
Because of personal issues. I long term, I just really want to do something useful. I don't want to sit at work from like 9 to 5, looking like at my clock saying, oh, it's 5 p.m. I want to go home. I tried that. I got a job in the U.S. Embassy before I left Serbia, and I was probably the only Serbian that left the job. That I actually quit, and it was the best salary you can get in Serbia. When my sister looked at my salary, she said, "Oh my God, they're not going to be hungry anymore." Swear to God, like that was like one of the best salaries in Serbia. But I quit that job after 3 months. Why? Because I cannot sit and be useless and pretend that I'm working for like 8 hours a day. I can't. I need to be useful. I need to like work something that like I think it's contributing for this world to be better. So whether it's the students, like changing the minds of the students, because like, for example, I didn't say that when these students saw me and when I told them about ex-Yugoslavia and how it was, the education system, and like what about socialism and what are the differences, like there was a free education and who can actually advance like through the classes of people to the class, like Marxism. They were like fascinated. This is the first time in their life that actually someone who went through that tells them their story. Like they were fascinated. So that changes their life. It changes like them. So I think, I really need to feel useful. If I don't feel useful, I'm not going to love that job, and it's a waste of time, really.
Thank you again, Gordana, and we'll be in touch. Maybe we do a check-in and like when you get to Italy or something like that. See how things are going. All right. Thank you.